You mention a lot about the founding, and you quote John Adams frequently in the book. One of the quotes that I like from John Adams, and I'm paraphrasing this, but he said that the founders had written a constitution for a religious and a moral people, that the document wouldn't work for people outside those realms. So is it safe to say that those who oppose the Constitution are afraid of it? They don't like the concept of morality. They don't like the concept of a natural order of things, natural law, this kind of thing?
This is a great point. First of all, let's go to the Declaration first. The Founding Fathers created a society, and that's what they created in the Declaration of Independence, founded on natural law. Divine providence, God-given natural law, unalienable rights. The only thing that makes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness unalienable is the belief in a creator. Not the belief in man or some government. Man and government can't, in the end, confer these rights or legitimately deny them. This is a huge difference we have with the statists, whether the modern statists or past statists. They believe rights are something to be rationed. If you agree with them, they give you rights. If you don't agree with them, they take rights away. They believe that they're all powerful. We don't. We believe they're earthly. This is a huge difference between us and the statists. When you watch Obama during his press conferences or Pelosi, these people sound like they're God. I mean, they think they're God. We're going to do this. And they also exploit something. Man is imperfect. Every religion will tell you that man is imperfect. So man's institutions are imperfect. And what the statist does is he exploits that. He tries to create this phony notion of a utopian state where if you'll surrender your will, surrender your liberty, surrender your property, more and more of it over time, to them, they will make the impossible possible, the unequal equal, and what they really will do is destroy your humanity, because they're not about humanity. They're about government, and that's why we need to call them statists.
Now, okay, let's talk about the statists and their voters. I've always thought they're two different people. You've got the Obamas and the Pelosi's, the Barney Franks, all the Washington statist elite, if you will, and the state house, all the statist elites. But let's look at their voters. How many of their voters, how many of the people who are fully enraged and angry on their fringe blogs, how many of them are actually of the same belief that the leaders of this statism are in belief of it, or how many of them are just sheep? And therefore, if they're sheep, if they're not as committed, if they don't understand really what they're voting for and what it leads to, are they salvageable?
You know, many of them are what I call malcontents. They're victims. They think they are. They always have a grievance. They don't look inside. They don't analyze their own lives. I write about this too. They don't take responsibility for their own situations. They don't know how, because they refuse to look beyond their own situations. They don't know how to prosper in the freest, most generous, most benevolent society ever established on the face of the earth. And so they feel the rest of us shouldn't survive or can't survive in a similar society. They're the malcontents. They're what I call the drones, what de Tocqueville referred to as my phrase is these drone-like characteristics, where more and more of them surrender their independence, their human sensibilities to the state. And they want to be told what to do. And then there's the elitist side of this. And it's academia, where you have professors and teachers who get a sinecure from the government. And what are they doing? Well, not everyone. I'm talking about the rule, not the exception. They are promoting this quiet counter-revolution in the classroom against the civil society, against our country. Same thing with Hollywood. Here you have people who luxuriate in the most magnificent society on the face of earth. They have fame. They have fortune. Nobody bothers them. They can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and yet they act as if they're revolutionaries, when in fact they're not. And they have enormous influence in the political process because of their wealth and their ability to contribute and affect the media. Are they salvageable? Well, we won't know if we don't try our way. If we keep doing these half measures and create clutter and doubting ourselves rather than have confidence and articulate our positions and do it with our friends and neighbors and in our neighborhoods, well, we'll never know if we can reach these people.
So it makes no sense to you, in a political sense. Let's say the Republican Party is the home of conservatism, just theoretically or hypothetically for a moment. It makes no sense to you to accept publicly some of their premises so as to attract them, and then when we get them, start to work on them to change their minds?
Now, what we need to do is challenge the language and the content of what the status does. And the status is extremely manipulative, and they will deceive. You can see they're politicians. They deceive, and they want to buy votes, and they'll change their positions on a dime, because really they march at a relatively standard pace. Right now they're marching faster than in the past, but they're incremental and persistent, and they have their goals in mind. And too often we conservatives are fighting with each other over, well, should we do this? Should we do... But in other words, we're tweaking on the edges. We're debating over nonsense. We're allowing people who claim to be conservative to demoralize conservatives. We have nothing to be demoralized about. Let me tell you something. You've said it 100,000 times. This is the greatest nation on the face of earth, and we cheerlead for it, and they attack it. We love this society. We love the Declaration. We love the Constitution. We love what it's brought forth. We love the capitalist system with its imperfections. Of course it has imperfections, and that's the capitalist system itself deals with that. The other side wakes up in the morning under the attack. They reject the Constitution and evade it day in and day out. They reject the founding principles and evade them day in and day out. They want to recreate our society, and that is what we're up against.
Mark Levin, the author of Liberty and Tyranny, is our guest here, and we will continue our discussion right after this obscene profit timeout here on the EIB network.
Tuned to America's Anchorman.